Hey there, everybody. My name is Stevie, and welcome to my first official upload. Um, I'm making this video because a lot of times I'll be sitting around home and random thoughts will be running through my head. They can be, funny, ridiculous, or actually sometimes pretty insightful. So I decided to start recording them and sharing them with you fine folks. First thing I want to talk about in this video is about the movie Inception. I love this movie. Fantastic. I love Christopher Nolan and everything about that man. He makes fantastic films. The point I wanted to make actually lies with the main character, Tom Cobb, played by the always dreamy Leonardo DiCaprio. In the movie, he plays an extractor who is tasked with stealing sensitive information from people's minds while they sleep. And I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but only I was watching it the other night, and only then did I really realize that Tom Cobb is probably the worst extractor in the business when you think about it. If you've seen the movie, it starts off while him and his partner Arthur are in the midst of pulling off a job, and from the get-go, things are not going well. You can already tell, and throughout this scene and kind of through the first 20 or so minutes of the film, they keep referencing Coble Engineering. And it seems like they kind of had a run-in with them or something, or pulled a job for them, and they also failed. If you're like me and you own the Blu-ray special edition or whatever, it actually comes with a like motion comic type thing that actually explains what happened between Tom and Arthur, and they did in fact have a job with that company and they ended up failing. So right there, that's one failed job in the books, and then you come into the job they're already pulling at the beginning of the movie, which they end up failing again, and then they are tasked again for Inception. Not no easy task. And again, if you've seen the movie, you know that right from the get-go, for that job just turns into a shitstorm of random things that happen that just make it not go their way. And I just started thinking that a lot of it is Tom Cobb's fault. If you've seen the movie again, like you would know that he knows Inception is possible because he first pulled it off on his wife, who ended up killing herself in the end because of the idea that he implanted in her head. Again, failing at what he really meant to do. So I just thought it was kind of a funny thing that this man who's the main character of this movie is actually pretty terrible at what he does, and it's like the only thing that he can really do. So I just thought it was kind of a funny idea that just thinking about it that one day just kind of made me laugh. Another thing I want to talk about in this video is the Avengers. Those of you who haven't seen it, you should punch yourself in the face right now and then go out and see it because it is awesome. By far, if close to, if not the best comic book movie ever made. And I say that's a pretty tall order, but at the same time, I think it's a very justifiable statement. A lot of people, a lot of people that I've already told that to have said, well, they always compare it to The Dark Knight, and that was a very tough, choice for me to make. But in the end, my final consensus would be that I believe that Marvel's The Avengers is better than The Dark Knight was, but I believe that The Dark Knight Rises will be better than The Avengers. So there's that, because I am extremely excited for The Dark Knight Rises. I will be going to see it, for sure. But I want to talk about the Avengers because I believe it's one of the best comic book movies ever made. Just because Joss Whedon, I was excited for him to write and direct it because I know that in the sci-fi community he has tons of credibility, and I was very excited for him to be at the helm of this film. I've never seen Firefly or Serenity. I know I've heard from a lot of people that they're amazing, and I should give them a check. But I was just really happy with what he did with this film because there was a couple things about it that I really wanted to see him do. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, this will be maybe a little bit of a spoiler alert. But two things that I really wanted him to take care of in this film was I really wanted him to do justice to both Captain America and the Hulk, and he did that extremely well. For Captain America, if there was one thing that this movie really had to depict, was they had to include a scene of Cap, taking control of the team. and because that was the big part in the comic book, is Captain America is the leader of the Avengers, and they pull it off in the movie, flawlessly. If those of you have seen it know that he pretty much just stands up and starts telling everybody what to do, but it's more than that. He's actually making very calculated calls, and he's making great use of everybody's unique abilities, and it's it turns into an awesome scene, and like you'll love it. And then with the Hulk, yeah, the Hulk I was actually quite worried about because if you've seen the other two movies, the first one was just god awful. It was a very poor attempt at the comic book, and the second one was better. I really liked Edward Norton in the role. I was really disappointed that he wasn't there for the Avengers, but he definitely brought great acting to the character of Bruce Banner. But just the movie itself, it was good, but I just don't think that it really did justice to the character of the Incredible Hulk, which they really really did in the Avengers. One thing that was important about the Hulk is, yeah, he's angry and he's big and he's strong, but a big thing about his personality too is that he is so spiteful, and they really bring that to life in the movie. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that was a big thing about the Hulk that I thought that they kind of missed in the other two movies, and I'm just really glad that they did a really good job with it in the Avengers. Um, some other stuff I wanted to talk about is TV. I have been really getting into the show Game of Thrones. I was turned on to that by one of my roommates and everything, and I heard a lot about it. I had seen it advertised. I just never really got into it, but I started watching it. I started reading the books first, actually. I started reading the first book, and as I started reading it, I kind of wanted to get into watching the show at the same time. So I've kind of been watching the show and reading the book kind of in a parallel thing there, which is kind of it's hit and miss because it's kind of like I know what's going on, but at the same time, it's cool to kind of get to see it played out and represented on the TV screen. One thing I've noticed about this new season, though, if you followed it as well, is that the first season of the show really stuck to the book. It stayed pretty parallel with a lot of stuff was taken out, but at the same time they didn't change a lot of stuff and they kept in a lot of the important factors. Um, and again, I'm reading the second book and watching the second season at the same time, and everything seems to be going. They're kind of changing the order of things, but at the same time they're kind of just I guess they're changing a lot of stuff. And one thing I wanted to say is, do not watch a TV show with a that's based off of a book or anything with a hardcore fan. Now, some of you probably know that. I mean, I'm sure some of you have gone to Harry Potter, Twilight, Hunger Games, whatever. But I have a friend who I was watching the latest episode with, and it was really aggravating to hear him just point out everything that is wrong with this season. It's not even that it's wrong; it's that it's different, and it really just aggravated me because I don't care that it's different. I don't know that a lot of stuff is different because I'm still just reading the book, but I'm just trying to enjoy the show. So I just I just kind of this is kind of a word out there given to all those people. Just don't it kind of ruins it for the rest of us. So just kind of keep it to yourself. If they change it, whatever. But I'm pretty sure that they're changing this show for the better because it's still pretty good. Um, and then I wanted to talk about the Walking Dead. That is another show that I am such a huge fan of, and I'm really bummed that it's over right now. But I'm really stoked for it to come back on. And I'm a huge fan of the comic books as well. I know a big thing that a lot of people were talking about in this season. Again, those of you who do not watch the show, spoiler alert. Um, One thing that a lot of people were shocked about was the death of the character Shane. Now, in the comic book, and when I was watching the show, I was actually anticipating it because in the second season, Shane is not supposed to survive past the first volume of the comic book series. So I was anticipating it, from the beginning. But even though he died differently, it was still cool to actually see it played out. And it was a very intense scene in the show. Those of you who've seen it know what I'm talking about. It was very, very well done, and I was happy with it. But an even bigger death that people were kind of, even a little mad at was the death of Dale in the episode right before. And again, like I said, that one for me was a little bit harder to deal with because reading the comic books, I know that Dale doesn't die until way, way later in the storyline of the comic books, and they really took him out very, very early, and I was a little disappointed in that because he's a very pivotal character, not only in the show but also in the comic book. He stays and he helps the main character Rick through a lot of different things, and I was very surprised that they decided to take his character out of the show so early. But at the same time, it was great. It was keeping the show fresh, and something I was not anticipating, and so it was something that actually turned out to be a good part of the series. And that's really all I have to talk about right now. I'll probably have another video for you tomorrow, but that's all I really got to say now. So leave some comments down below, and I'll see you later.